So I've removed the two switches just to show that these two came as switches. We have the shunt, a BT2 module, and it's funny, these are bus bars, and I actually just purchased these on my own for another application, and sure enough, it just happens to be Renogy includes a very heavy duty bus bar. So there's a red one and a black one, and we see poking out under there, there's a solar panel mounting Z brackets. Okay, excuse the mess in the garage, but this is the unboxing and mock-up wiring of the Renogy Go Far Solution 3.8 kilowatt hour system. They include a brochure, which is pretty handy for the average user, which I would say I'm slightly above average. It gives a wiring diagram of all the components, which were numbered in bags, as well as the parts list. So basically, start off with the inverter, the 2000 watt version. We have the included remote, and it's set to remote mode on the end. So that's off, on only without using the remote, but I'll be leaving it in the third position to have remote access. So now they include two nice things in this kit are enclosed bus bars. So these covers go over to have a clean bus bar system. And they have all the cables and fusing. So you'll note in the kit that it is all labeled. So for example, the battery positive for the inverter, battery negative for the inverter, going to a 250 amp fuse system. And even each end of the cable is labeled differently. So this is the 250 fuse side of this cable versus the isolator switch is the inverter switch. Then we come out and they have a special cable as well, same cable gauge but labeled from switch to bus bar. And now we have a thick gauge cable coming from bus bar to switch. This is for the main battery. Once again, it's labeled as a very long section of cable going all the way around to another 250 amp fuse. So this is what's going to go to the Renogy Mini 300 amp hour battery. Purelator's giving me some trouble for shipping, but it's coming. Switching around a bit, we have the DC-DC 50 amp MPPT and DC-DC charger. So for the solar, we've got the photovoltaic out. It's very easily labeled. Going to the MC4 connectors with a fuse. And then the Renogy Shadowflux panel. Just like we said before, the bus bar is giving your photovoltaic negative, which will attach there. Your common negative will also feed the shunt. The bus bar going to the shunt, as well as the bus bar going to the common ground on the controller. Once again, every item they included is fused. So we have a 80 amp fuse, ANL fuse. So it's once again, it's nicely labeled, and that fuse comes back around to your bus bar. Coming on this side, this is where we're going to be connecting to the alternator. So this is the positive side, and it's 80 amp ANL fusing, which will go to the battery, and you will supply a negative from your alternator battery to the common bus bar. One thing they did include was a battery shunt 300. So we have this huge cable coming from the common negative into the P negative, into the battery negative. It's very easy to understand. It's all labeled for you, P negative, battery negative, and you'll see the cable markings are very easy to understand. And you'll see this is now the house battery negative. So this gives you an accurate reading of your shunts. We have 3 cables coming off. There's house battery, alternator battery, and this cable is the temperature sensor. So same with the DC-DC charger. You've got the alternator sense wire. So if your vehicle has a smart alternator, this helps trigger the DC-DC charger to accept charge and start drawing current once the alternator is up and the system is running. We have a battery voltage sensor, so this helps get the exact voltage rating that your battery is. So this will go to the battery terminals. It is a bit redundant because these are all, this is Bluetooth enabled with the module. The Sine inverter is Bluetooth, and it can all feed back into the DC Home app. One thing to note, this inverter is also a transfer switch. What that means is I can take my my 3-wire 110 volt or whip, and once I take this cover off, I'll be installing that there, so I could actually charge this from shore power. So going a step further, it does have included AC ports, but you can also wire in any type of external port. This one has, I've got a wattometer for future testing, but this is a GCFI connector, and once the cover is off, you can connect the wires inside the housing according to the diagram. So all in all, this has every single thing you need in a kit. I recently built out a larger van that was for running servers and computer systems well on the road. I used the Rego 3000 watt inverter, and I had to source all these parts individually, cable sizing, what DC charger I wanted, what bus bars, A&L fuses. We didn't use the shunt because we're relying on the one core app. So this is a very user-friendly kit. I'll note that there is a ton of cable, so I may be having to cut and crimp cables to shorten them. I'm putting this in the back of a truck. One thing I also like to do, I have 3/16" copper bar, which I'll be making some shorter joints, probably between switches and fuses, to help lessen as much cable as I have to deal with. And that's rated for over 340 amps without much internal heat generation. And this whole system is fused at 250 amps. So stay tuned for the actual installation in my Jeep Gladiator. The solar panel will provide DC-DC, so the photovoltaic charging. This will hook to my alternator, so on the road to keep the soon to arrive 300 amp hour mini running, a fridge and other electronics, and even some power tools out of the back of the vehicle. So the goal is to use this large aluminum cargo bay to take all this junk out of there, and then install the system in here and have the solar panel on the DiamondBack cover. I'll probably make something so it can articulate and adjust and open when the lid's open. So stay tuned and we'll see how that goes.